we're ellas. If you're a group of men, we're ellos.
No,
but if one man walks into a group of all women, all of a sudden we're all
let me tell you how it works in Arabic. So if there's a group of men and women, it's hum.
Yeah.
If there's a group of females, it's hunna. If there's a group of majority females, it's hunna. It's like, you know, they. Yeah.
And there's a group of only men.
Only men. There is no, that's the thing. You could argue that there is no specific, like here, hum is men and women, and it's only men as well. Whereas you have two pronouns that can be.
It's the same as Spanish.
No, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Spanish speaker.
It's the same as Spanish.
Yeah. So you can't really argue this. Let me tell you why, right?
Why not?
Because let me give you one verse in the Quran, yeah? It says in Surah Al-Ahzab chapter 33 of the Quran, مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٍ. From, and the word here is mu'mineen, the believers. The believers are men. From the believers are men.
Mankind.
Yeah, now, mu'minina is in the hum form. Hum refers to both men and women. This is the proof of it, yeah? And here is extrapolating the mena of the group of men and women. You get it? The point is, you could argue that hum refers to either all men and or men and women, whereas hunna refers to only all women. So there are two pronouns.
You don't have a word.
But there are two pronouns in Arabic that refer to women and only one that refer to men.
No, but that's because the word for men is all inclusive. There's no. It's the same way in Spanish. It's that the men.
So what?
If there's one man, the group is considered all men. That's the point.
No, that's not how it's in Arabic. Say for example, if you've got majority women, and you have one man, then really this is a group of females. Majority is females. Yes.
So if you have a group of people and there were 100 women there and there's one man,
yes.
Which pronoun do you use? The
if
one
there's
for
100
men and women.
If there was 100, no, you'd use the one for females.
Okay.
Because it would confuse the people.
You'd say hunna.
You would say hunna because it's majority females and it would confuse people. Yeah, because it's 100 women is a lot. Anyways, going back to what we were talking about.
We got sidetracked now to language.
Yes. By the way, there's some interesting.
I was much more comfortable with the philosophy argument.
Yeah. Going back. No, but it's good. Do you know something else interestingly? Yeah. You can use something.
I can or we can.
No, in Arabic.
Pronouns are very important, don't you think?
Why do you think they're important?
Because when you're speaking to me and you say you can do this and you can do that, it feels accusatory in a way, and it's something that we can all do. And I feel like you're speaking to the crowd, not just to me.
But I'm talking to you. Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
All right. So, in a nutshell, the reasons, I can't tell you all the reasons. For example, the hijab is mentioned in the Quran. Why the hijab is prescribed?
I thought it wasn't.
No, the hijab, that particular, it says فَلَا يُؤْذَيْنَ. So the reason why, one of the reasons behind it is so that women don't get exploited by men.
But
one of the
why
reasons behind
we
it.
Focus on the men exploiting?
We are as well, because there's a whole injunction for men to lower their gaze. And so there's another injunction for women to protect themselves in a sense.
But if men are lowering their gaze, then why would women have to?
They're not. That's the problem. We're not lowering our gaze.
And why is it that like women wouldn't be attracted to men and look at men in a sexual way the same
way?
Well,
that's the thing. We go back to our biology, psychology, and physiology. We're saying that we're different. Men and women are fundamentally. Pardon?
I have a libido.
Yes, but it's not the same.
Libido.
It's not the same as the man's libido. Whatever you want to do, it's not going to be the same.
That's a very general statement.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's less or more. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying it's. You're going red, my friend. Listen, I'm not saying it's less or more. Yeah, I'm not saying it's more intense or less intense. I'm just saying it's different. Would you agree with that? Most studies that I've looked at.
I don't believe in just two genders.
Well, look. Most studies that I've looked at have shown that men have more of an instant impulse, whereas women are more slow burners, if you like.
So I think that has to do more with some socialization that's happening, especially today.
No, I don't think so. I think generally speaking, you know, women are more slow burners when it comes to sexual activity, whereas men are more instantly activated.
I think we want to say that, and that's why we don't have a positive word to discuss women who like to have sex with multiple partners or lots of sex with one partner.
We have that. We have those words.
But Mohammed, you do not have any room to manoeuvre here.
In English, I'm talking
in your religion.
Polygamy.
It's in your creed. You can't change it.
No.
Yeah,
polygamy.
It's not for a man. Polygyny is for a man.
No.
Yes. Polygyny is for a man, right? Yes. Get the dictionary. Polygamy is for men and women, both of them.
Yeah, I'm talking more about polyamory.
Yeah, that polyandry as well. That's for women specifically.
No. Polyandry is for women to have multiple husbands.
Yes. So there is a word.
Polyamory.
What's that?
Polyamory is literally polyamory, the love for more than one person.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Sounds good.
So no, but so we do have the word there. What's the problem?
No, I'm not talking about the concept of being able to do that. I'm saying, what do you call a woman in the most positive way possible who enjoys having sex a lot?
There's only one word, and it's a terrible word. So I'm not going to repeat it.
No. And what do you call a man who likes to have lots of sex?
That's going to be a positive word.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look, let me tell you something. Islamically...
Wait, but you didn't tell me.
I don't know. In English?
Yeah, in English.
I don't know.
I don't know if you have those words in Arabic.
He's smiling. I think he knows.
No, look, I'm not disagreeing with you on this.
Teasing.
Sure.
This is a point of agreement. I think this is not a point of disagreement. I agree that when women do it and whatever men do, that's the point of agreement. It's not disagreement. What I'm going to say to you is that, generally speaking, things like polygamy, the hijab, all of those things are in a sentence explained by the fact that there are differences.
He's going to say it's your genetics, basically. That's it.
But there are differences. But like, so what?
Okay.
Why would that?
That's exactly the argument of the feminists.
Why would that relegate a woman to have to cover her entire body?
Let me ask you then.
Cover her
Good.
face?
Good.
Why?
Let me ask you a question. Why are we?
The same argument that people give for women who
that's
like,
a very,
what are you wearing?
No, that's very good. Yeah. Now we're going somewhere. So you're saying there are differences, but we should disregard the differences.
Not disregard them. But
so what should we do? What should we do with the differences? How should we account them?
It's the same way that I think that what a woman wears in the street should not determine whether she's rapeable or not. We should be, or my father wanted to keep me in the house when I was young because he was so afraid that I would be assaulted. And instead, he should have been out on the streets talking to the young men who might want to assault me. Yeah. He should be speaking to those men. The men should be speaking to other men. It shouldn't be about keeping women in the house and keeping them covered while they walk
no problem. I'm asking a simple question.
Listening to me?
Yeah, I got that. Okay. I got that argument. I understand it. What I'm asking you is, we agree that there are differences. There are two ways with dealing with this.
Yeah, but I think we disagree about those differences.
We either accept those differences and account for them, or disregard those differences. What should we do?
Well, there's a mid ground. I don't think you can.
What's the middle ground? Tell me what the middle ground is.
I don't know. I just feel like if we're smart enough to be able to develop books and laws that are gonna dictate how we live our lives, we can develop something that doesn't say that women have to behave a certain way in order to stop themselves from being raped.
But Christina,
that's freedom of expression.
But Christina, you see, the question I'm asking you is very profound, and you know it's actually the building. Look, I want you to understand something, right? Before we can't build castles on thin air, okay? Arguments are like...
We can build them on sand, though.
Right, yeah. No, it will be weak foundations.
I'm from the beach, though, but I've seen castles built on sand.
No, what I'm saying, maybe they're sand castles. What I'm talking about here is, if we want to have a coherent, logical understanding of why we're doing certain things, we have to actually have a foundation, which is quite solid and firm. So here, as we can see here, we've identified that there are differences between men and women. Now we've seen that there are two ways of dealing with those things. In a nutshell, you can either account for those differences or disregard those differences. Now I'm asking you, what should we do?
Well, the thing
and
is,
why? And why as well?
Because I don't agree that it's about differences. What I believe is that men have an ego problem, and they have a jealousy problem, and they view women as
why is that a problem?
And they view women as their property.
Okay, maybe
so,
that's
not only do they not want to see, I think it's just about them not wanting to have their property violated by another man.
Okay,
that's what I think.
That stuff I agree with.
It has
no problem.
nothing to do with protecting women.
Me and you agree with the same thing. All right, no problem. We all agree with that.
You agree?
Yeah.
That
we have
men
that
have
issue.
an ego problem, and they walk around doing dick competition.
He's definitely saying something differently to you.
Yeah,
he's talking about genetic differences as well, and you can't exclude that.
What I'm saying is, what should we do with biological, psychological, and physiological differences? Should we take them into consideration, or should we disregard them?
No, we should take them into consideration.
Okay,
but that doesn't
perfect.
mean that women would have to dress in a particular way.
So why are you dictating that?
Because men can't control themselves.
So how do we dictate?
I don't know if anyone should dictate. I'm an anarchist. Like, I don't even like that label either. Like, I don't want anybody dictating anything to me.
You want to wear what you want, don't you? Do you want a man to dictate what you wear?
The thing is, I have to change the way that I dress because I don't want that kind of attention, and I don't want to live in a world where I have to wear a hijab or a burqa or sweatpants.
No problem. I'm not telling you to do that, by the way.
To avoid harassment by men.
No problem. But you live in a world. Let me put it in a very straightforward parable for you, right? We live in a world.
Flashbacks. Oh shit. Okay.
He got attacked, right, last Sunday.
I got attacked last Sunday.
Oh, that was just last Sunday.
Okay, perfect.
I missed it, but
He provoked that attack. We're going to go in
With this.
He said he was going to apologise.
I provoked him with this.
you were wearing this.
No, I put it on when I saw that they all want to attack me.
It's his
Why did they
fault.
want to attack you?
I'll come to that after. We'll talk about it afterwards, yeah? Let's go back to our discussion. The point... Listen.
Go on.
Go back to our discussion. Our discussion is...
But wait, but you agreed with me that
What?
the reason that we feel like women are supposed to be treated a certain way is because men can't control their egos and their jealousy, and they feel that women are their property.
Do you know what? Okay.
But he said it's genetic.
Right. You know, wait, there's a presupposition in what you're...
That genetically men feel jealous.
All those things.
Look. There's a
possessive.
There's a presupposition in what you're saying, which is that you define them as problems. You could define them as either...
Street harassment is a problem.
Just 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes.
Don't worry, I gotta go too. So.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Let me finish this. A presupposition is the way...
the political wing over there.
But you see...
I saw his videos. I don't know about all that.
Look, listen for a second. There's a presupposition. And it's the same one that de Beauvoir uses, yeah? She in her chapter of biology, she talks about how men are possessive and these things.
Simone de Beauvoir, aren't you?
Yeah, no, because she's mainstream, so I like to... I'm
not
going
about Sartre much, though, do you?
But read some black feminists, some womanists.
I have read some black feminists, like Ngoni, what's her name? Ngoza, whatever her name is. She wrote some little books.
Yeah, but she writes fiction. I'm talking about...
No,
why everyone should be a feminist.
She wrote the Feminist Manifesto, like why everyone should be a feminist, whatever. Anyways, look, going back...
She's very mainstream too. Like,
okay, I've looked at her stuff. She's more... I would say she's more fair, yeah?
Read Bell Hooks?
No, not yet.
Audre Lorde.
Who?
Audre Lorde.
I've come across some of her stuff, but I haven't read her books yet. But I'll put it in my reading list. Look, yeah? What I was going to say is that, look...
Converting you.
The point...
You're giving Dawah.
Listen.
Feminist Dawah.
No, I'm open, yeah? To a reading.
He's not.
To a reading, not to
to reading.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reading besides his one book. I know people who are just like, that's my book, all I need. So you're not that person.
Yeah, all right. Oh, thank you for that.
I think he
So I was saying to you, look,
we'll come to that
the presupposition is how men should be disregarded, or should be seen as negative, or should be, or is the problem of men. Okay? So it's a problem for us.
It's really the problem of women. It's men.
So now, but how do we solve this problem? We've got men, let's say, that are, have certain traits that are differentiated from women. That we want to do this and we want to do that. We're more polygamous with this, we're that. We're more aggressive. 99.9% of people in prison are men. Whatever, yeah. All of those things.
Yeah, but
he wants doctrine.
So what do we do with that?
Doctrine solves that.
How do we prescribe?
What do we? I would not agree with that at all.
What I'm saying is, what is the solution? What is your solution for it? Have you got a solution for it?
Education.
For how men wouldn't assault women?
Education, right? Education, it has to be that. To teach children to treat women with respect and for men to be treated with respect.
Let's say education is a good thing, and we agree with it. No problem. No, let's do education. But what I'm saying is this. If you're saying that women will be exploited by men, and let's be... Yeah, no, sexually this is whatever.
You're not going to eradicate all of it.
No problem. Shouldn't women take precautions?
Yeah, but precautions doesn't mean that we should stay home.
I'm not saying that.
Dress in a
I'm not. No, but I'm
way.
saying. What I'm saying is this: what precautions have proved to be more successful?
I don't think wearing those clothes has been very successful.
No, but let me ask you a question.
I go out in the street with baggy jeans and whatever, and like
no. But let me once again, right? Precautions which prevent.
And as I said, was education, and you're saying education. I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking.
So do you agree?
Beings.
Do you agree?
Don't you think men can say? And you know, inherently, biologically, I really just want to ravage a woman when I see her. But you know what? I won't do that because it's wrong.
No,
I mean,
can I interject
this is your freedom of speech to be who you are as a man biologically, but actually you cannot infringe upon my rights to be a woman. And we're different.
Yeah, I get it. But so just one point.
Have actually asked me. They've said, why don't I rape? If I'm not religious, if I have no morals, I'm an atheist. Why don't I rape? It's a very interesting thing. Yeah, they asked me that, as if I have no innate morality. Which I do.
If you do, you got to ask where it came from. All right. So if
evolution, my friend. But we'll have that discussion another time.
Evolution, that's a different case. All right. So in a nutshell, in one word, we would say that one measure which forces men not to look at women.
Hold
on. It does. A certain. If we're saying that you don't want men to look at you as commodities or objectify you, right? One measure that forces that is privatization of the ornaments of women. It forces that. You can't feast on or exploit that which you can't see.
I saw women wearing.
You see what I'm saying?
Wearing jalabas that really like showed their beautiful
Yeah, a lot of
curves.
Muslims don't like that.
Anyways.
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
Mohammed, pleasure.
Oh, I don't.
Mohammed,
You're right.
No, brother.
behind you.
Yeah,